Hi guys! So, as you all know, 2019 is ending, thank the Lord. It was a decent year for albums, not my favorite. Unfortunately, 2019 was just like not a good year for music, or like new albums for me, I guess. I don't have a lot. I don't have as many as I did last year. I know I had 10, but I know I had well over 10. I just liked so many albums last year and so many good ones came out, but this year I'm only gonna talk about 5 that like genuinely stood out to me, I guess. What I'm gonna be doing is telling you the album, my favorite song, pretty much the same dealio as last year. Yeah. The first album I have on my list is Somos' Prison on a Hill. And this one was just released a few months ago, actually. The record label actually like sped up the process to get this released sooner because the guitarist in the band passed away. I believe it was like suicide that he passed away. Very sad, and they wanted to get the album out quicker to raise funds for his funeral, and it was very sad. So if you don't know Somos, they're a band from Boston. They have released, I think, only a few records. My favorite is Temple of Plenty by them, and that was the pink one. That was probably their most iconic one, I think. My favorite off of this album is Dreamless. I believe that was also one of the singles that they released a while ago. This album definitely has a different production sound than the past few, I guess. It's a lot more poppy, which is okay. Still a really good album. And number 2 on my list, I'm not 100% if this counts, but I'm gonna count it because it was one of the few I could find that I genuinely liked and kind of want to talk about. And this one is 100th Iridescent, if you want to call it that. EP, 4-song single dealio. My favorite song, I would say, from these 4 singles, or this EP, or whatever you want to call it, is Leave Yourself. And if you don't know 100th is from South Carolina, and they went from like a melodic hardcore type sound to like a very dreamy pop alt rock, I guess. They haven't been signed for quite a while, pretty much after they changed their sound and went from rare to ultra rare to the sound now. I was really hoping for a full-length album in 2019, but we didn't get that. But these 4 songs were like prime, and they released them in September. And I was like, why would you do that? Because the songs are so like dreamy and summer sounding, and they just make you want to like drive in your car in the summer. It's just very nice. Yeah, I'm really happy with the direction that 100th went in. I really enjoyed their like melodic hardcore stuff, and then they like changed their sound so quick, no warnings, nothing. So good though. And also another thing I like about this band is their merch line. Fucking prime. Just like their designs are just so fun. There's a guy on Instagram, his name is Fresh Cut Flowers. I know he designs a lot of 100th merch and counterparts, so 100th, it's a great album. And number 3 on my list is Osos Basking in the Glow. This album blew up when it came out, and I remember everyone was posting about it, and so many people didn't know who he was. This guy is just like some dude from New York, and everyone's just like, oh my god, Oso, and it was just really cool to see his progression from like all of his older stuff to Basking in the Glow. My favorite song from this album is that weird one, the GBOLHNF one. I don't know if it means anything or if it stands for anything, but that was my favorite from the album. This whole album has like very warm guitar tones in it, and it's very nice. And it's really cool because he records all of his music, or like all of his instruments, by himself. If you get what I'm saying, I don't know how to explain it. He's a one-man band, let's put it that way. But when he tours, I think he just like gets people from random bands and they go and play with him, and it's really cool. So kudos to that guy, because that's pretty fucking hard. I remember the first song I heard from him was This Must Be My Exit. Bomb song. That whole album was great. Definitely recommend Oso if you don't know him. Definitely one of a lot of people's top albums of 2019, so go check that one out. Number 4 on my list is Max Seal's Super Enthusiast. And if you don't know Max Seal, they're like, I want to say math rocky, but not really poppy. My favorite song from this album is probably Always Hazy, and it was one of their singles that they released from this album. They're a smaller band from Long Island, I believe. This album has a lot of sad lyrics, but like a lot of upbeat tones and like guitars and stuff to it. I don't have a lot to say about any of these. I'm sorry. And number 5 on my list, and the only album I could think of in 2019 that was worth putting on this list, bad, is Alex G's House of Sugar. And let me tell you, this album, I don't even know. My favorite song from this album is probably Southern Sky. It was very hard to pick because a majority of this album, a lot of good songs. And Alex G, he's from Philadelphia, is a very, very interesting man. Honestly, this whole album is about like being broken and empty, I guess, if you listen to the lyrics of a lot of his songs. And a lot of his songs are about like characters and not necessarily himself, which I find pretty interesting. I've like watched interviews and stuff, and he says a lot of his music comes from inspiration of his life, but isn't necessarily about himself, or they're like stories of his life. And then with characters, I don't know, it's very weird. And to me, this album is like a little bit of all of his albums put into one, like DSU, Beach Music, Rocket, all of them. The only thing that stayed consistent throughout all of his albums, I would say, is like the tone of his voice, I guess, which obviously. And I watched Anthony Fantano's review of House of Sugar, and it made me very, very upset. This album is still prime. It is not on the downfall for Alex G whatsoever. I don't think, at least. I've probably listened to this album I don't know, a lot of fucking times I listened to it. Very good. Don't have it on vinyl yet. Probably could get it because it's always in the store when I go in the store. That was definitely my favorite album of 2019. And on my little handy dandy list, I have some honorable mentions. I actually have quite a few. These are some albums that I liked some songs off of, but didn't necessarily like the whole album itself. So first, there's this local band in Milwaukee. They're called Snag, and they released their self-titled this year, and it was fucking bomb. They're just like emo scrams bullshit, and they sing about like climate change and shit, and it's really fun. But that album was really good. I have Bon Iver's I, 1,1, whatever you want to call it. It was an okay album, definitely wasn't my favorite. And then I have Better Oblivion Community Center. If you don't know them, that's Phoebe Bridgers and Connor Oberst. Great duo, I love them together. That album was very good as well. And this next album I have was everyone's like most talked about favorite album of 2019 is Knocked Loose's A Different Shade of Blue. I loved Laugh Tracks, and I am not gonna lie, I didn't listen to A Different Shade of Blue yet, but I heard it was better than Laugh Tracks, which is crazy. Maybe I'll give it a listen, maybe I'll try. I have Morbid Stuff by Pup. Gonna be honest, didn't listen to that either, but I do like Pup's older stuff. So, and then I have Tiny Moving Parts' album Breathe. This one was still pretty good. I wasn't a fan of how poppy it was. It still had his twinkly guitars and his screaming vocals and all that, but it just sounded a little bit different, but that's okay because bands have to progress and progression is good. And then I have Whitney's Forever Turned Around. Whitney, just great. All around great album as well. And then the last one I have on my list, which I would have put as number 6 on my list, which I probably should have, is Counterparts' Nothing Left to Love. Counterparts is just amazing. That whole album was insane. I honestly should have put it in my top 5. I'm not gonna lie. Scooch that over, put it in top 5. Yeah, just like I said with 100th, their merch is always on par, their marketing is always on par. They know how to like get the audience to listen to their music and shit. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment down below which album was your favorite of 2019. I know you guys already did that a couple videos ago. I wish you guys nothing but the best for 2020. I hope it brings you lots of positivity and nothing negative, because 2019 was a terrible year for me, at least. It's so weird because probably 3/4 of 2019 was like so different than the last couple months for me. It was just so terrible, and I could tell in my videos that I wasn't the happiest. That's why I never used to post all the time. Recently it's gotten better and I feel a lot better about a ton of things, and I also think living alone has kind of helped me, although living alone kind of really sucks. I don't know, living alone is just very lonely. I hope you guys have a great New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, whatever you want to do. Be safe, be smart. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.